none other than Jeff Shoup. He is working on his Pathways Dynamic Leadership, researching and presenting. It's 5 to 7 minutes, Shane. The project is to research the related topic and then clarify the message. The title of his speech is A Passion of Prospecting. Jeff Shoup is a speaker, trainer, and business coach. His message today deals with the fear and challenges of telephone prospecting in sales. I have a great deal. Jeff works with businesses to maximize sales production related to the topic. Let's give it up for Jeff Shoup.
Let's go ahead and take the podium, please. Thanks. I'm glad she mentioned that she had a challenge. Marisa, you have a challenge with prospecting. Who doesn't in life? I am curious, have you ever had a sales job? Most of you, a few of you have not, but most of you have, so you might know a little bit about that challenge. And those of you who have not been in a sales position, have you been a part of a company that sold something? Great, that's a trick question because every company sells something. That's one of the challenges with selling. It's prospecting, finding customers, finding new customers. One of the solutions, of course, I did some research with a company called Value Selling Associates in Southern California. They teamed up with Selling Power magazine, and they did a survey of salespeople. They discovered that 48.1% of salespeople, that's 1 out of 2, fear prospecting by phone. It's not that they just don't like it, they fear it. And I can relate to that. When I was a kid and I started into sales, in my first telemarketing job, and I experienced that first rejection over the phone, marketing HBO and Showtime, it hurt. And then the next call was like that, and the next, and the next, and the next. And most of the calls were, and so I was tainted, and it was a big challenge for me to get over that. One solution that Value Selling Associates found is that 77% of salespeople find that referral prospecting, getting a referral from Frank and then going to see the people, maybe Brian. Frank refers me to Brian, and Brian works with me a little bit. Those are the easier kinds of sales. So that's one solution. The challenge is that we're never going to really eliminate sales prospecting. So how do we deal with it? I've got 3 R's. One is that I found in my experience the sheer resolve, that's the first R, the sheer resolve to conquer that challenge, to get over the fear, to become an expert at sales prospecting, strengthens the mind. A resolve to get good at it. And when finally we are good at it, the challenge becomes easier. Will it ever go away permanently? No, we're human beings. We go like this through life. We're strong, we're weak, but the sheer resolve helps with that challenge. Secondly, reason through the fear. This is a little bit harder. I found in my experience that there are 2 kinds of fears, a good and a bad. A good fear is when you're about to jump out of a plane, you better have your parachute on, okay? It's a good fear to have. You need to know how to jump. You need to know how to pull the ripcord on the parachute, right? There are good fears that save us from harm. Then there are the bad fears. These are fears that are contrived by our doubts, our bad experiences. When I was that young kid, for example, prospecting with HBO and Showtime as a 17-year-old high schooler, I created images in my mind that people didn't like the sound of my voice, that I was no good, that I was a failure, I couldn't do it. The truth of the matter is there was only a particle of truth to that. If I learned, if I thought through my challenges and discovered and exposed the irrationality of that fear, then I got stronger. So reason through the fears. There was a job that I had several decades ago in which I learned to do this. I reasoned through my fears. They became reduced. I became braver. And I got better at telephone prospecting. The third R is to rehearse. And what does that mean? Essentially, another word is practice. You can role play phone calls. You can write a script. With that same job that I just mentioned, that I got through the fears, I found I was stronger if I rehearsed and thought through the contact. In this day and age, what we can do very easily when we're going to contact, say, somebody at the IT department of Intermountain Healthcare, we can look that person up on LinkedIn. We can look up a company website to learn more about the company. We can come up with that first 8 seconds of the attention getter before we try to contact them. That warms up the call. What I did was I accompanied that with an email prior to my call. So it was very easy for me to reach out to that person, understand that I was interrupting their day, and simply open with something that helped us get a connection very quickly. Now, rehearsing like that ended up making me part of the president's club of that company, and they appointed me a director. So the technique was very successful, okay? Now, I learned this from a mentor many, many years ago, so I'm not the superhero that you think I am right now. I learned this from somebody else who learned it from somebody else. You see the 3 R's. Resolve, reason through the fear, and rehearse. They're all techniques that have been used before. And if what we can do as salespeople, and if you're not in sales, take the challenge anyway. As salespeople, if we decide to develop a passion for prospecting, that is, develop a level of expertise that makes those fears go away, that helps us understand we're great at what we do, and then we know that what we're doing is right, and we're helping a company grow, and we're helping that prospect, if we're truly interested in helping them, then we have no reason to fear. Okay? Will we experience rejection? Sure. But the challenge for those of you not in sales right now, if you're speaking, decide to become an expert at it. Reason through the fears and rehearse those speeches before we come in and speak. And we'll feel so much better and we'll continue to grow. Madam Toastmaster.
Yeah.